Have you been thinking about leaving New York and moving somewhere that gives you more space, lower costs, and maybe just a little less stress? If so, you're definitely not alone, because every single week my team and I talk with people from all over New York, whether it's Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, Long Island, Westchester County, or even upstate New York, who ask the exact same question: is moving to Greenville, South Carolina really worth it? And the answer really depends on what you're looking for, because if you're expecting Greenville to be another version of New York City, you're going to be disappointed. But if you're looking for a place where your money stretches further, your commute is shorter, your home is larger, and your lifestyle slows down just a bit, then Greenville starts making a lot of sense. And in this video, we're going to compare New York and Greenville in the areas that matter most. We'll look at housing costs, property taxes, everyday expenses, commuting, weather, quality of life, and what your money actually buys. We'll also talk about a few things people don't always expect after moving here, because no place is perfect, and I want you to have a realistic picture before making such a big decision. What's up, everybody? I'm Brian O'Neill, also known as the Tattooed Agent. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. Every week we create videos about what it's really like living in Greenville, South Carolina, and the surrounding upstate communities. We cover everything from neighborhoods and housing prices to the local market, schools, cost of living, and the pros and cons of different areas, so you can decide which community fits your lifestyle before you make that move. Now, whether you're thinking about moving to Greenville, Greer, Simpsonville, Travelers Rest, Five Forks, Malden, or somewhere else in the upstate, you've come to the right place. If that's the kind of information you're looking for, make sure you subscribe, because we release new relocation videos every single week. Now, let's talk about why so many New Yorkers have been making the move to Greenville over the last several years. One thing that I've learned after helping so many families relocate is that most people don't start their search by saying, I want to move to Greenville. They usually start by saying something like, we're tired of paying so much for housing, or we want more space, or we want a better place to raise our kids, or even, now that I work remotely, I can finally live wherever I want. And that's where Greenville enters the conversation. And that's what many people say. And for many people, it checks a lot of boxes. It offers a growing economy, a vibrant downtown, easy access to the mountains and lakes, 4 seasons without harsh winters, and a lower overall cost of living that many parts of the Northeast don't have. It's large enough to have the restaurants, shopping, healthcare, and entertainment people want, but it's still small enough that life feels a little bit more manageable. Now, I also want to set the right expectations. Greenville isn't the hidden little southern town it was 20 years ago. The secret is definitely out. More people continue moving here every year, home prices have increased, and traffic has grown along with the population. But compared to many parts of New York, a lot of people still feel they're getting much more value for their money and a better overall quality of life. So let's jump into the comparison, starting with the biggest expense most people have when they are moving anywhere, and that's housing. So why are so many people making the move from New York to Greenville? Honestly, it's not just one reason. It's usually a combination of several things that all start adding up. Over the last few years, we've talked with families, retirees, young professionals, and remote workers from all over New York. Some are coming from Manhattan or Brooklyn, while others are relocating from Long Island, Westchester County, or upstate New York. Even though their situations are different, they often tell us the same thing. They're looking for more value, more space, and a better balance between work and life. For some, it's about finally owning a home instead of continuing to rent. For others, it's about finding a place where they can raise their family without stretching their budget every month. And for remote workers, the question has been pretty simple. If I can work from anywhere, why am I paying New York prices? Greenville has become one of the places that answers those questions. Over the last decade, Greenville has grown into one of the most desirable cities in the Southeast. New businesses continue investing here, the job market remains strong, and people from across the country continue relocating to the upstate. And at the same time, Greenville has managed to keep much of the charm that made people fall in love with it in the first place. You still have a vibrant downtown, beautiful parks, easy access to the mountains, and a strong sense of community with many people that say it's harder to find in larger cities. Now, let's talk about the biggest expense you'll probably have when making a move like this, and that's housing. This is usually the moment when my New York clients stop scrolling through listings and start calling me. If you're coming from areas like Manhattan, Long Island, Brooklyn, Westchester County, you're probably used to seeing home prices that can easily reach $800,000 to $1 million or even much higher. And in many cases, these homes sit on smaller lots, have limited parking, or may not offer as much living space as you'd expect for that price. Then they start looking at homes around Greenville, and it changes everything. Instead of choosing between space and location, many buyers realize they can have both. The same budget that might purchase a smaller home or condo in parts of New York could buy a much larger single-family home here with features they never thought they'd be able to afford. We're talking about open floor plans, spacious kitchens, dedicated office spaces, bonus rooms, 2 or 3 car garages, covered patio, fenced backyards, and even community amenities like pools, walking trails, playgrounds, and clubhouses. One thing that surprises many buyers is the variety of homes available here. You'll find everything from historic homes near downtown, brand new construction and growing communities throughout the upstate, and whether you're looking for modern craftsman style home, a traditional brick home, or a ranch with a little extra land, there's plenty of options depending on your budget and lifestyle. And I've had buyers laugh during home tours because they couldn't believe what was available within their price range. They walk into a home with a large kitchen, a bonus room, 2-car garage, a backyard big enough for kids and their dogs to run around. And the first thing to say is, we would never be able to buy something like this back home. But here's what I always tell people. Don't move here expecting everything to be cheap. That has completely changed. Greenville has grown a lot over the last several years, and home prices have increased because demand has remained strong. This isn't the bargain market it was 15 years ago. The difference isn't necessarily that homes are inexpensive, the difference is the value. Many buyers feel like they're getting significantly more home for their money than they could in many parts of New York. And when you combine that with lower property taxes and lower monthly ownership costs, that's when the financial picture starts making sense. Speaking of property taxes, that's another area where many New Yorkers are pleasantly surprised once they start comparing the numbers. Now let's talk about something that surprises a lot of people even more than home prices, and that's the cost of owning a home after you buy it. Because buying the house is only part of the equation. The monthly payment, property taxes, insurance, utilities, and maintenance all play a big role in what it actually costs to live somewhere. And one of the biggest reasons many people relocating from New York become interested in South Carolina is the property taxes. If you own a home in many parts of New York, you already know that property taxes can add up quickly. Depending on where you live, it's not uncommon for homeowners to pay thousands and sometimes well into the 5 figures each year just in property taxes. Then they start looking at Greenville and the difference can be eye-opening. One reason is that South Carolina offers a tax advantage for people who live in their home as their primary residence. Owner-occupied homes receive a lower tax assessment than investment properties or second homes, which helps keep your annual property taxes lower for many homeowners. Now, every property is different and taxes vary depending on the county, municipality, and the value of your home. So it's always important to look at the specific numbers for the home you're considering. But overall, South Carolina is known for having one of the lower property tax burdens in the country for primary residences. And what I find interesting is that many buyers start their home search focused on one number, the purchase price. That's understandable because it's the biggest number they'll see, but after we start looking at estimated monthly payments, property taxes, homeowners insurance, and other ownership costs, they begin to realize there's a much bigger financial picture. I've had buyers tell me they expected to purchase a larger home in Greenville, but they didn't expect their monthly housing costs to be similar to, or sometimes even lower than, what they were paying in a smaller home in New York. That's when everything starts to click. It's no longer just about buying a bigger house. It's about creating more breathing room in your monthly budget. Maybe that means taking more vacations each year. Maybe it's more for retirement, helping pay for college, or simply not feeling like every dollar is already spoken for before the end of the month. Those are the conversations we end up having with a lot of families after they compare the numbers. Now, of course, property taxes aren't the only expense that changes when you move. Everyday costs can have just as much impact on your monthly budget. So, let's talk about what daily life in Greenville actually costs, from groceries and gas to restaurants, utilities, and even weather, because all of those things play a role in your overall cost of living. Now let's move beyond housing, because at the end of the day, your mortgage is only one piece of your monthly budget. You still have to buy groceries, fill up your car, pay your utilities bills, grab dinner with friends, and enjoy life. Those everyday expenses can make a big difference over the course of a year. And this is another area where many people relocating from New York notice a change pretty quickly. One of the first things people usually mention is the price of gas. While gas prices go up and down everywhere, Many of my clients tell me they can't believe how much less it costs to fill up their vehicle compared to what they were paying back at home. This same goes for everyday errands, whether it's a trip to the grocery store, picking up supplies for the house, or just going out for dinner on a weekend. Many people feel like their paycheck stretches a little further here. Now, I don't want to make Greenville sound like it's some incredible cheap place to live, because it's not. Like most of the country, we've seen prices increase over the last several years. Housing has become more expensive, groceries cost more than they used to, and going out isn't as inexpensive as it was a decade ago. But when you compare those costs in many areas throughout New York, especially New York City and the surrounding suburbs, it's a more affordable option. And one thing I also remind people to think about is utilities, because that's an expense that changes depending on where you live. During the summer, you'll probably run your air conditioner more than you're used to if you're coming from New York. July and August can be hot and humid. And this is something many homeowners notice right away. But on the flip side, winters here are much milder. Instead of dealing with months of freezing temperatures, snowstorms, and constantly running your heat, winter in Greenville is usually short and fairly comfortable. Snow, it does happen from time to time, but it's typically a rare event rather than something you plan your entire winter around. In fact, one of the things many former New Yorkers tell me they enjoy most is being able to spend more time outside throughout the year. It's not unusual to see people walking the Swamp Rabbit Trail, playing golf, hiking, or eating at restaurant patios in months when much of the Northeast is bundled up inside. Now, I do have to give you one warning. Pollen season is real. It's the yellow season. If you've never experienced the spring in the South, you're in for a surprise. Every year, usually sometime in the spring, you will see a yellow layer of pollen covering cars, sidewalks, patio furniture. It's almost becoming a running joke around here. If you have seasonal allergies, you'll definitely want to be prepared, because spring can be beautiful, but it can also be a little rough for allergy sufferers. Now, the good news is that many people feel the trade-offs is worth it. Instead of spending several months digging out from snow, scraping ice off your windshield, or dealing with freezing temperatures, you're getting a much longer outdoor season. And honestly, that's one of the biggest lifestyle changes people notice after moving here. It's not just the weather is warmer, it's that people use it. Parks stay busy, golf courses stay active all the time. Downtown restaurants keep their outdoor seating open, and you'll find people hiking, biking, and enjoying the outdoors during much of the year. For many people moving from New York, that means spending less time inside and more time doing the things you enjoy. But another thing people quickly realize after moving here has nothing to do with the weather or the cost of living. It's how much time they get back every single day. Now, let's talk about commuting traffic and why so many people say they finally feel like they've gotten the part of their life back after moving to Greenville. Now let's talk about something that doesn't show up on a cost of living calculator, and that is your time. Your time is everything. Because if you spent years in New York, there's a good chance you accepted long commutes as a normal part of everyday life, whether it's sitting in traffic, taking the subway, catching a train, paying tolls, or simply trying to get from one side of town to the other. Transportation can easily take up to hours off your week. That's one of the biggest adjustments people notice after moving to Greenville. Now, commutes have gotten longer, but let's be honest, Greenville has grown a lot over the last decade, and with that growth has come more traffic. If you've ever driven down Woodruff Road during rush hour or around the holidays, you already know it can get busy. You'll probably find yourself sitting through a few extra traffic lights, especially near some of the larger shopping areas. But here's the difference. For most people relocating from New York, what we call traffic here feels very different from, what they're used to back home. Instead of spending, an hour or more getting across town, many people can reach work, grocery stores, meet friends for dinner, and be back home in a fraction of that time. Weekend errands don't usually require a detailed game plan, and going out to eat doesn't mean leaving an hour early just to make your reservation. Another adjustment for many New Yorkers is that Greenville is a car-dependent city. Public transportation exists, but it's limited compared to what you'll find in New York. Most people here drive almost everywhere they go. And at first, that can feel like a big change if you're used to walking, riding the subway, or taking commuter rail. But many people quickly discover there's a trade-off. Parking is usually much easier. You don't spend nearly as much time searching for a spot. You aren't paying expensive daily parking fees in most places, and you're not dealing with the same level of congestion that comes with one of the largest cities in the world. Travel is another pleasant surprise for many newcomers here. One of the things I hear people compliment all the time is how easy it is to fly in and out of Greenville. The Greenville-Spartanburg International Airport, or GSP, as most locals call it, is clean, easy to navigate, and doesn't have the overwhelming crowds you often find at the larger airports. Getting through security is usually straightforward, parking is convenient, and you can often get from the parking lot to your gate without the stress that comes with many major airports. If you ever need additional flight options, you're also within driving distance of Charlotte and Atlanta, giving you access to two of the busiest airports in the country. But here's what I think is the biggest difference. When people do move here, they don't just save money, they gain time. And that's one of the most important things. Time to have dinner with your family, time to coach your kids' baseball team, time to take that dog for a walk after work, time to meet friends out for dinner or downtown on a Tuesday evening. It all starts connecting, and time to spend Saturday hiking in the mountains instead of, sitting in bumper to bumper traffic. I've had clients tell me they didn't realize how much of their life revolved around commuting until they moved here. Once they settled into Greenville, they realized they weren't rushing from one place to another all the time anymore. Life simply felt a little bit easier. And while every person defines quality of life completely differently, that extra time is something almost everyone appreciates. Because at the end of the day, the goal isn't just to live somewhere that's affordable. The goal is to live somewhere that gives you more freedom to enjoy your life. And that's a perfect transition into what I think is another big reason people stay in Greenville after they move here. Now let's talk about the reasons so many people decide to stay after they move here, because while affordability is usually what gets Greenville on someone's radar, it's rarely the reason people end up falling in love with the area. The word I hear over and over again from people who've relocated here is balance. Life just feels more balanced. You still have access to great restaurants, shopping, healthcare, entertainment, job, growing economy, but it doesn't feel like you're constantly rushing from one thing to the next. There's a little more breathing room in your day, and for a lot of people, that's exactly what they've been looking for. And one of the best examples of that is downtown Greenville. If you've never been before, there's a good chance it's going to surprise you. A lot of people hear South Carolina and picture a sleepy little downtown with a few local shops. Then they come to Greenville and that changes their whole perspective. Main Street is lined with locally owned restaurants, coffee shops, boutique shops, rooftop bars, art galleries, and entertainment venues. Throughout the year, you'll have festivals, live music, farmers market, and community events that bring people downtown almost every weekend. And at the center of it all is Falls Park on the Reedy. Having a beautiful waterfall right in the heart of downtown isn't something you see every day, and it's one of the reasons Greenville has become known as one of the most beautiful downtowns in the Southeast. It's the kind of place where people grab a cup of coffee, take a walk after dinner, meet friends on the weekend, and simply enjoy being outside. And one thing that many former New Yorkers tell me is that Greenville gives them many of the experiences they've enjoyed in a larger city, just on a more comfortable scale. You can make dinner reservations without planning, weeks in advance. However, I would book them midweek. You can usually find parking without circling the block 20 times, certain areas. You can enjoy a night downtown without feeling like everything has to be rushed. That slower pace doesn't mean there's nothing to do. It simply means life feels more manageable. And when you're ready to get away from downtown, some of the best outdoor recreation in the Southeast is practically in your backyard. Within an hour or two, you can be hiking to waterfalls, driving through the Blue Ridge Mountains, spending the day on Lake Kiwi or Lake Jocassee, exploring scenic overlooks, or biking along the Swamp Rabbit Trail. And if you enjoy golf, kayaking, fishing, mountain biking, camping, or simply spending time outside, you'll probably find yourself doing those things a lot more often than you did before. That's another reason why people enjoy Greenville's climate so much. Instead of waiting for a few perfect weekends each year, you have opportunities to enjoy the outdoors during much of the year. And honestly, I think that's one of the Greenville's biggest advantages. You don't have to choose between city living and outdoor living. You can enjoy dinner downtown on a Friday night, spend Saturday morning hiking in the mountains, relax on the lake in the afternoon, and still be home in time to fire up the grill with your family and friends. That's a lifestyle that's hard to put on a price. Now, some things that you need to think about, and after helping so many people relocate here, I've noticed something interesting. The conversation we have 6 months after closing, are completely different from conversations we've had before they moved. Before they move, people ask about taxes, home prices, and interest rates. After they move, they tell me about the new restaurant they found downtown, the hike they took over the weekend, and how much they enjoy sitting on their back porch in the evening. And that's when I know Greenville has started to feel like home for those folks. Now, with all that being said, I also think it's important to have an honest conversation because as much as I love living here, Greenville isn't the right fit for everyone. So let's talk about who should seriously consider making the move and who may be happier staying exactly where they are. Now, after everything we've talked about, I want to finish with something that's probably a little different than what you'll hear from a lot of relocation videos. I'm not here to convince everyone to move to Greenville. It's not for everyone. My job isn't to sell you on Greenville. My job is to help you figure out if Greenville is the right fit for the life that you want to live. Because the truth is, no city is perfect. Greenville is not perfect. It looks fantastic on paper, but it's not for everyone. Every place has its trade-offs. And I think it's important to be honest about them. If you absolutely love the fast pace of New York City, the energy of walking out your front door and having endless restaurants, museums, Broadway shows, professional sports, and public transportation right at your fingertips, Greenville is going to feel different for you. This is not a city where you can hop on a subway to get across town. You're going to need a car. There is public transportation, but you are going to need a car. Most people drive everywhere, and while we do have traffic during busy times, especially on roads like Woodruff Road, as I said before, it simply isn't on the same level as what New Yorkers experience every day. You may also miss having so many entertainment options available 24 hours a day. Greenville has an amazing restaurant scene, plenty of local events, and a vibrant downtown, but it's still a mid-sized city. If you're looking for a nonstop pace and endless choices in New York City, Greenville isn't trying to be that. But on the other hand, if you're looking for more space, a lower overall cost of living, easier access to nature, and a community where life feels a little less rushed, then Greenville checks a lot of boxes. It's a great fit for families who want more room to spread out. It's a great fit for retirees who want to enjoy an active lifestyle without harsh winters. It's a great fit for remote workers who can live almost anywhere and want their income to go further. And it's a great fit for people who simply feel like they're ready for a different chapter. One thing I tell every relocation client is this, and let me just make this very simple. Don't move somewhere just because it's cheap. Move somewhere because it fits the life you're trying to build. Saving money is important, but if you don't enjoy where you live, the savings won't matter nearly as much. The people who seem happiest after moving to Greenville aren't necessarily the ones who saved the most money. They're the ones who wanted what Greenville naturally offers. And so they wanted a backyard instead of a balcony. They wanted the mountain views instead of skyscrapers. They wanted weekends on the lake instead of weekends sitting in traffic. They wanted a slower pace without giving up the convenience of living in a growing city. And that's exactly what Greenville provides for a lot of people. So I also want to mention one more thing because I think it's important to set realistic expectations. Greenville isn't the hidden gem it was 15 or 20 years ago. This place has grown tremendously. More people are discovering it every year, and that's changed the area. Home prices have increased, which has put a lot of people out of the buying pool. Traffic has grown. New neighborhoods continue to be built. More restaurants, businesses, and employers continue to move here. Some people see that as a downside. I actually see it as a sign of a healthy, growing community. Growth brings new opportunities, more jobs, better amenities, and continued investment in areas. Of course, it also brings growing pains, and that's something every buyer should understand before making the move. The key is having realistic expectations. You're not moving to a tiny southern town anymore. Greenville's not like that. You're moving to one of the fastest growing areas in the Southeast. For a lot of people, that's exactly what they're looking for. I happen to love it. Now, let me leave you with one story that perfectly sums up what we've been talking about throughout this entire video, and it's this. Not too long ago, I helped a family relocate from New York to Greenville, And like a lot of people, they started by asking about home prices, property taxes, schools, and neighborhoods. They had spreadsheets comparing costs, they were watching YouTube videos every night, and they wanted to make sure they were making the right decision before leaving a place they'd called home for so many years. When they finally made the move, they found the larger home they were hoping for. They got the extra space, the backyard, and the lower monthly housing costs. But when I checked in with them a few months later, something stood out. They didn't spend the conversation talking about, the house, the cheaper mortgage, the property taxes. They talked about their routine. They told me they were eating dinner together more often because they weren't spending hours commuting. Their kids were outside playing in the backyard instead of staying inside an apartment. On weekends, they were exploring downtown Greenville, taking day trips to the mountains and discovering places they never knew existed. They told me, we didn't just buy a different house, we built a different lifestyle, and that's awesome. And honestly, I think that's what this decision is really about. Moving from New York to Greenville isn't simply about finding a lower mortgage payment or paying less in property taxes. Those things certainly matter, but they're only part of the bigger picture. And the bigger question is this: what kind of life do you want to live over the next 5, 10, or 20 years? Do you want more space? Do you want more time with your family? Do you want an easier access to the outdoors? Do you want less harsher winters? Do you want a community that's growing while still feeling welcome? Or do you love the energy, the convenience, the nonstop pace that only a place like New York can offer? Neither answer is right or wrong. I mean, it's what's best for you. It's simply about finding that place that fits you. That's why I always encourage people to spend some time here before making that decision. Visit the neighborhood you're considering, walk through downtown, drive through rush hour, grab dinner in a local restaurant, explore the parks, the trails, the surrounding communities. Picture what your everyday life here would actually look like. If it feels like home, then you're gonna know it. If you're thinking about relocating to Greenville, Greer, Simpsonville, Travelers Rest, Five Forks, Malden, Easley, or anywhere else here in the Upstate, my team and I would be honored to help guide you through the process, whether you're planning to move next month or next year. We'll help you understand the market, narrow down the right communities, and make your move as smooth as possible. You can give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email, or schedule a Zoom call using the contact information in the description below. We work with relocation clients every week, and we love the opportunity to help you too. And before you go, I love to hear from you. If you had to choose just one reason for leaving New York, what would it be? I would love to hear it down in the comments. Would it be the cost of living? Wanting a larger home, looking for a slower pace, life, being closer to nature, retiring, or something completely different? You know what? Drop your answer in the comments below. I read every single one, and your questions often inspire future videos. So if you found this video helpful, make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button so you're notified every single week when we send out our weekly videos about living in Greenville, South Carolina, and the Upstate. Thanks so much for spending part of your day with me. I truly appreciate you being here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.